And here I am, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be watching us on Bead Shop Live Free Tip Friday today. And today, we're going to do something a little more in the metals world, which is why I'm out here in the metal part of the studio. And we're going to play around with some Liver of Sulphur, which is an antiquing solution that we sell here at Bead Shop. And sometimes it's a little difficult to know how to use it. So I thought I would share today about how we work with that. It's a little bit of a continuation of last week's Free Tip Friday when I made that little infinity bracelet, which I think you guys really loved. I've got another sample here that I'm going to share with you, and we're actually going to antique it. Plus, I pulled some other things from our bead shop stock, and we're going to look at it. Okay, so I'm going to take a bracing cup of coffee, and then I'm going to put it away. Or bracing drink, rather, because we want all of that, since we're using the Liver of Sulphur, it is an inert solution. So, but we still want to be real safe and stuff when we use it. So no food, stuff like that around it. Okay. So, I actually need to set up, I'm going to grab the demo cam. So I'm going to let you guys kind of look at this picture for a moment while I put the demo cam in the holder. And then I'm going to switch it over so you guys can see what I've got going here. I'm working on outside here, as I said, in the, there we go, that looks good. Let me switch it around. Out here in my studio portion of Bead Shop. So when the door is open, so there's a lot of good ventilation here because we don't want to use this in an enclosed space. So let me add this. We're going to do that. And before I get to that, of course, let me take care of a little bit of housekeeping here. Okay, so real quick, just so you guys know, you can find us on our social at beadshop.com on Insta, of course, at the Bead Table on Facebook. We'd love to have you join our Facebook group. And if you are watching the broadcast either during our live or later, we would love to have you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which means that you will never, ever miss a broadcast. And we hope that you enjoy them because, again, without you guys here, we would not be able to do what we love doing so much. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And of course, you can find all of the information on today's project and products on our website right at beadshop.com. I also thought, since next week, you guys, we're going to be doing, I'm going to be away. So, but I do have a broadcast. The cool thing about our streaming platform is that it allows us now to pre-record. So we won't be doing it often, but I will pre-record a segment that will go live on Wednesday. I just won't be live, but Janice will be here. Gita will be here. So they'll moderate your comments and stuff like that. It'll just be me and recording that you guys can all watch together. So that's that. I also thought, you guys, that we had so much fun during doing our giveaway that I thought I'd do one today, since I won't be able to do one next Wednesday. So you're going to have to wait till the end of the broadcast to see what it is. But you want to make sure you're going to leave a comment, and I'll talk about it at the end of the broadcast a little bit. But those of you who have done it and know the drill know that before leaving a comment anytime, even with our giveaways, or if you're watching on our group, and it's only on our group. If you're watching on our YouTube, you're fine. If you're watching on our page, you're fine. But if you're watching from our bead shop group called the Bead Table, you need to, before you leave a comment, you need to grant StreamYard, which is our streaming platform, permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. So what it'll look like is you'll go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, and you'll see this page, and you will grant permission to let StreamYard see your Facebook Live comments. Because of Facebook in groups, the privacy settings are private, so you can't, they don't let, publicly, you can't comment unless you grant them that special permission. And I'm going to tell you what the giveaway is a little bit later. I'll just flash it. I've got it in my pocket. That's it. Okay, but you got to stay tuned to the end of the broadcast for that. Okay, and I'll let you know what the phrase is, and I'll let you know what the giveaway is. Alrighty, so let's jump in and see. I just want to take a look and make sure. Oh, good. There's a comment here that I read. Your mind for this video, you were wanting to do it. Well, great. I love using Liver of Sulphur. I use it a lot. So I wanted to kind of share my my experiences with that. So let me get this off of the thing here, and let me switch everything over so you guys can see the my workstation. So bear with me. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Now since I'm working across the room for this right now, I'm not going to be able to see your comments. Maybe if I turn this around, maybe I can. Hang on a second. I've got the skill. Let me see. There we go. I think I can kind of see that. But anyway, let me move myself over to the antiquing station, and let's get this show on the road. Okay. So let me come over here, and you can see in the shot right here, we've got some of the parawire, the bare copper wire, along with the gel, the Liver of Sulphur gel. And the way we carry it is in this Liver of Sulphur gel, okay? And the gel is great because it doesn't go bad. So some of you, maybe way back in the day, when maybe you were doing some metalworking or whatever, early on, you saw that the Liver of Sulphur used to come in kind of this nugget form. I guess it was like a little, I don't know, like a little rock or something like that. So it was, and then you'd mix it with hot water, blah, blah, blah. And once Liver of Sulphur hits the air, it starts to degrade. Okay, so the gel, it's suspended in a gel, so the shelf life for this stuff lasts a really, really long time. Okay, so we really love working with this. And on the website, we carry it on Bead Shop. I have a whole kind of safety protocol to work with this. But before I get to mixing this and everything, I wanted to show you guys, let me see if I can aim the camera down here a little bit. If you'll remember that piece that I made, that little infinity piece that I made for last week for Free Tip Friday, I did that little woven piece. It's up on our website. Let me see if I can get the camera there. It's up on our website, and what I did was, it was the wire play day. Maybe it was last Wednesday. That's when it was, I think. I don't remember. Time has no meaning for me anymore with this pandemic. It's crazy. I can't even tell what day it is, but I do know today is Friday. So you can see, and I just wanted to kind of reiterate this while I finish this. So this is the first piece I'm going to antique. I made, for the wire play day, I made two little S shapes that I did kind of a plain weave, an under over weave with. So today, inspired by one of our members of the bead table, made this really beautiful piece where she made two rings and wove them together. So I thought this morning I would just make two of those rings, and I'll show you just real quick what I used to do it. This wire is a little long, so I'm going to cut it. I just made two flattened rings. You can see those here, right here. And I made them just like I made those little S components. So you can watch the broadcast, the video. Janice just put it up. It's also on our YouTube channel. And Gita is linking it too, I believe. And so Drea made it into a project, and it's right on our homepage. You'll see it, the little infinity bracelet. It's really kind of a fun one, I think. But what I did was I made kind of the same components. I used the 16 gauge wire like this. And it looks a little bit like the dog's breakfast, to use a quote from my friend Mary. But once we do the antiquing of this piece, I think it's going to look, it's going to add a lot of dimension. So essentially what I did was I had my two 16 gauge rings that I flattened with my hammer and bench block. And then I used a 24 gauge wire. In the piece that I made on the broadcast, I did this plain weave with Irish wax linen, if you'll remember. But this time I'm doing it with wire. Can you see that? How it's weaving in and out like that. And so I'm just going to finish it up here by wrapping around the edges, kind of to finish it off, like so. And this is 24 gauge that I'm using. You could use 26 gauge if you wanted something a little bit finer. And I left a little tail here, so I'm gonna just wrap that around. And when we're using Liver of Sulphur to antique our pieces, there we go. I just need to get this a little more in my field of vision, you guys, sorry, and then I'll put it back under the camera lens so you can see it, but thanks for, it's a little awkward where I'm working today, so thank you for bearing with me. There we go. And let me put this other one next to it, okay, so you can see this. So what I did over here, these were the rings that I flattened using 16 gauge bare copper. Now when we're utilizing this Liver of Sulphur, the metal, in order for the Liver of Sulphur to antique, to patina that metal, the metal needs to be bare copper metal, okay? It can't have any non-tarnish coating on it. And then what I did was I got my 24 gauge wire, I wrapped it here around the edge, and then I wove through. And I know you're wondering, well, Kate, how come these two rings are sticking together like this, right? So this is, I used a little bit of the Zap glue, and I very rarely use glue to connect metal. Usually I solder it, but this works just fine. A dot of Zap there, a dot of Zap there. Put the two rings on top and let them sit to really cure, and now they're really bonded together. So it was really easy for me to come in and weave it. Okay, so here's this weave, and you're really going to see the difference, I think, between the way this looks now and how it looks when we antique it. I think you're going to like it. So one of the things to get, so let's talk about getting a really good, clean patina on, it wants to roll, there we go. A really good patina using Liver of Sulphur, okay? So whatever you are dunking, whatever you're antiquing, it needs to be really super clean, okay? So what I like to do is I'll get a little bit of water and a soapy, scrubby sponge or whatever. I'm going to be using a lot of paper towels today. And we want to really clean our piece. I'm going to get this here. And I've just got a little bin of soapy water that has some Dawn dishwashing liquid in it. That's kind of my metal cleaning, what do I want to say? My metal cleaning detergent of choice, right? So I'll get that Dawn and I'll put a little bit of that in that little soaker. And then I'll get some, I'm getting some more water here while you guys are looking at that. Then I'll get a nice like little brush, an old toothbrush. I have an old nail brush that I use. And I'm going to come in and get that wet, get a little bit of that Dawn on here. This is my little brush that I use for metal. Let me get this a little bit over here so you can see it. And I'll just scrub that up. Okay. And the idea is that you want all of like your finger oils or dirt or anything like that to be cleaned off. Okay, so I'm gonna just brush this. And whenever I make a piece in metal anyway, after it comes out of the tumbler or before I put my patina on this piece, I'll give them a little bit of a scrub. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to toss it in. I just have a little bin of water over here. Save those takeout containers, kids. And then I have a few other pieces that I'm going to be antiquing later too that I just grabbed out of our stock. These are some shadows here, the big shadows, the queen and king size shadows. So what I want to do, let me use a lot of paper towels here. What I want to do before I actually scrub all of these, because they're kind of slippery and kind of hard to keep a hold of, I'm going to go ahead and string these. And you're going to see how the different ones react differently. Okay, so I've got a copper, I've got a brass, and I've got the silver plate. Now, LOS works differently on each type of metal. Let me get this one on there. And many of the products that we carry, I'm going to get this out of the way. Many of the products that we carry that are plated have a non-tarnish surface on them, okay? So what you need to do is sometimes, and we also do this with the shadows. I know that you guys have been waiting for the shadows to be back up and be antiqued. When we get these pieces from whatever manufacturer we get our different metals from, right? Some of these have been coated with a non-tarnish coating, so the liver of sulfur can't get in there and do its job, right? Antique, because it has that coating on it. So that coating needs to be removed somehow, okay? Now these the brass shadows don't have any coating on them. They're just the plain, natural brass, that how it comes, right? However, liver of sulfur doesn't work on gold and brass. There's a different, you can use silver black. There's also a couple of different brands by the name of Jax, under the Jax brand, that are exact for brass. There's other ways when you're using like silver black, which is something that we don't sell because it is pretty caustic. If you heat the pieces, if they're able to be heated, and you bring up a little bit of the copper to the surface, it's able to stick. So this was so there's a lot of ways that you can deal with that, but it's kind of out of the scope of what we're doing today. Okay, so we're just going to be working with the LOS, but I am going to get these as prepared as I can so you can see when we dip everything how it's going to work. Now, I'm not going to mix the liver of sulfur yet because the liver of sulfur, A, is stinky, and B, works best super fresh. Okay, so I'm going to prep all of our stuff first, and then we're going to dip. Okay, so I have, you guys might recognize, this is a little scrubby pad. It's made by 3M. You can get them at the hardware store. Sometimes you see them for your dishes, and they're green. Okay, this one, the kind of purpley brown one, is for metal, and usually they're in the paint section. You can also use your green scrubby if you don't have this one. This one's a little more coarse, or you could use a little bit of steel wool, but steel wool is so messy. If I would use steel wool, what I'd do is I'd put it on a wet piece of paper towel like this, so all the steel wool particles would stick to this paper towel. Okay, I'm also going to start protecting my hands on this broadcast, especially since I'm going to be sticking my fingers into that liver of sulfur. So we're going to use some gloves. Okay. So that's that. And you can see this bracelet I'm wearing today. Let me show you this. This is a copper bracelet that I've made. And you can see I've done the liver of sulfur, the antiquing, and then polished it up. I'm going to show you the Pro Polish pad a little bit later. This one hasn't been sealed. This is just the natural patina that is with it. So we'll put this one to the side and we'll talk about this in a second. Okay. So let me get my my gloves on here. My gloves. And here's this little scrubby. Okay, and so I'm going to scrubby it. And you can see, I'm going to hold it up to the camera. You can see that scrubby is starting to mat the surface of these beads. Okay, I'm going to turn it. And Gita is also linking. I did an old LOS one when we just started it. I did a broadcast on it, but I thought it was time maybe to update it a little bit. And see how when these beads are also on the wire, how they're much easier to handle. Okay, and you want to braid it, but you don't want to get too aggressive because this copper plating and this silver plating, what's underneath them is this brass bead. Okay, so you can, if you're super aggressive, though the plating on these are really heavy, you can break through to the brass, but it would take a lot of elbow grease to do. Okay, so here's this. Okay, and I'm going to dump this into my Dawn dishwashing liquid that's over here on my right. We're also going to do this with these shadows, and this is why the copper shadows, when we antique them, why it takes so much time to do, and we love doing it, but it's just so time consuming that we come in and we abrade them. So we take the non-tarnished surface off of the surface of these beads. Now, if you're doing this at home, I might recommend wearing a dust mask. I'm getting a little bit of residue in the air, not a lot, but if you're at home doing this, and again, I'm working in a well-ventilated area. I'm working right by our office door, actually, and the wind is coming in, so I've got a nice breeze in here. Now, you could also use, okay, this is some wet dry sandpaper. This is a 400 grit. Now you don't want to get too aggressive with this because again, you don't want to file through the coating, but I'm going to use this actually on the silver and let's see how it looks. But it will take off that coating. Okay. And so you can also kind of run it through this way. This is another way of doing it, like this. And we'll just keep going around like so, making sure I'm not breaking through to any of the copper. 400 grit isn't that coarse, but it is, you can see, doing something, getting something off of there. Okay, so I'm just going to take it and we're going to put that in the Dawn. Now, Janice requested, I have a couple of others here. This is our jumbo swivel, and this one is already antiqued, but I'm going to see if I can antique it further. It also has a non-tarnished coating on it, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of that. Using my sandpaper, and can you see how I'm exposing the metal underneath it? Again, this is plated, so I don't want to break through to the metal underneath. And I could heat it, but I don't want to heat it with all of this, with this mechanism and stuff. We don't want to do that. So can you see the difference between the side I abraded and the other side here? Okay, so I'm going to come in and we'll see. I'm being a little slapdash about this. So the antiquing may apply a little bit unevenly depending on where the coating is. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to throw that in the Dawn. Okay. And what else do I have? Oh, Janice wanted, let me reach around here and I'm going to string these up. You know that we carry, and they may or may not work, I don't know, but I'm going to test them, you know. Why not test it live? You can't even see what I threw down there. Millie's saying this is very CSI. Yes, with my gloves. I'm going to go ahead. These are our clamshell end tips. So I'm going to come in and string them up. There we go. Twist them on the wire. This is just a piece of 24 gauge scrap wire. And I'm still using that 400 grit, but I could go back to my scrubby too. These definitely have a non-tarnished coating on them. So we'll see. Again, this might be a little bit uneven because I'm not being super detailed about it, but you can see those are on there. Okay, throwing them in the bath of Dawn. And then the last thing, I thought I'd grab a Tierra cast piece in silver. And Tierra cast definitely has a non-tarnished coating on these guys. And it's hard for me to grab with my gloves. But I'm going to come in, try and remove some of that. And let's see if I can really darken this down. Liver of Sulphur works best on copper and copper plate. Okay, it works fine on silver. It just takes a little bit longer for it to set sometimes. So we might have to be a little more patient. And let me put that also on a wire. It'll be easier for me to dip it. Okay, let me get rid of this. Let's bring our bin back in of soapy water, okay? And John's asking, yeah, can we use our flex shaft to polish and get rid? Certainly, yeah, you can use like radial discs, right? If you have radial discs to do that, you can use your jewel tool. Like I might use my jewel tool to just spit with my radial disc and just go bzz, bzz, like that, and it'll be a lot faster. But since I'm showing some hand methods today, but you certainly could use, I don't know, maybe the red, kind of the brick red. I don't know what micron grit that one is, but that was probably the one that I would use. So let's just clean this up a little bit here with the Dawn. And I feel like if people have issues with the LOS, this is the step that they're not doing, okay? Which is cleaning it up. And see, look at that, actually shined those up pretty nicely. A little nail brush from the drugstore is a great tool to have. Okay, so there's that one and this one. Because any of your finger oils or hand oils or anything like that that's on this metal, it's going to prevent it from taking the patina of the LOS. If any of you watched on my YouTube channel, my Kate Richford channel, a few weeks ago, I did a broadcast on how to patina using a fuming chamber to create a verdigris, a beautiful blue patina on copper. And you saw me really clean my metals. I actually cleaned them with Barkeeper's Friend that time. Anytime you're going to enamel or anything like that, you want it to be really super clean. So you could use that as well, that Barkeeper's Friend cleanser on these. But this Dawn will really cut through any grease here. So let me put this aside. And I'm going to show you, here's my rinse water. Now I'm really going to go rinse this. Okay, so let me put this in for you to look at. I'll keep talking to you, but I'm going to move over to my sink and get these really, really rinsed well, because we don't want any soap residue from what we're working with. So you're going to hear the water now. There we go. Get nice and rinsed, especially the shadows, since they are still strung on that cotton thread. We want to make sure that all of the soap is out of that thread. So I'm over here at the sink. You cannot see me, but I am really swirling them around in a nice warm water bath. And I'm going to let them soak in this warm water, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. It's going to make some more sense to you, but bear with me here. I'm also going to our hot water tap that we have, and I'm getting some super hot water in my little Pyrex dish, and you're going to see why I do that as well. So just bear with me as I bring all of this back into view. Okay, so here's this. Now, liver of sulfur works best, as I said, when the liver of sulfur itself is fresh, as well as the water that you are adding it to is warm. Okay, so here's everything that I just brushed, and it's nice and clean. The water in here, and you can't see, there's a little bit of steam rising up from it, but the water here is warm. Okay, so the pieces that I'm using when I dip them, it's also helpful, especially with the silver. It's also helpful to have the metal be warm as well. So these are in a warm bath right now. A nice warm bath. So let's bring what we're going to antique in All right, and you want to get everything prepared so that you minimize the liver of sulfur odor. Okay, now liver of sulfur is a sulfurated potash, so it's a natural occurring ingredient. Like, you know, if you've ever gone to a sulfur springs or whatever, and the water is naturally sulfured, it's the same naturally occurring sulfur that they use here for the liver of sulfur gel. Okay, what I also have here next to me, and you can see I've got my surface protected with paper towels. I also went to the dollar store and got this little dollar store strainer. So after I've, you know, antiqued my pieces and then rinse them and stuff like that, I'll just throw them here in the strainer, and then I'm going to take this strainer under the faucet and rinse. Okay, but this is just a nice, again, another takeout container, a good reason to have Thai food, and your little, your strainer. So here's my little Pyrex container. I reserve it now only for using with the liver of sulfur. You don't want to go back and use your piece for food, okay? And I got really hot water out of our hot water tap, so it's hot. So here's the liver of sulfur gel. I'm going to open it up, and you can open it from the lid here, but I don't know how empty this is. So, ooh, and there it goes. So I might have put a little too much LOS in here, but we shall see. I was a little vigorous. Maybe I should have left the lid on. But what you want to do is you want to stir this up so it's that yellow color. I might have put, I don't know, maybe half that amount, but it really doesn't matter because you will, you could always dilute it a little bit more. But let's see what happens with this stuff. So I'm going to start by dumping in my silver, and I'm just going to let it sit there for a second. I'm going to dump in my beads here, okay? And we're going to, okay, and see, look at that, boom. See how that is ready to go right here. Can you see that, how black this is, how dark it is right here? So I'm going to rinse this. I'm going to throw this actually in my soapy water and put it down. Okay. So now I'm going to get these pieces. Can you see how the copper that I've used, okay, and you can see where I've abraded some of the antiquing or the anti-tarnish coating. So I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. We're going to go ahead and put in the shadows. Okay. Oh, bear with me here just a second, you guys. Hang on. It looks like my connection to the Facebook group has dropped out. I think we're still working on the, yeah, okay, there we go. It's back. I see it here. Sorry about that. It looks like we had a little bit of a blip there, but we're back. So sorry about that. Let's check the shadows. And can you see how we're starting to get that tarnish? So it's not tarnish, it's antiquing here. Let me go ahead and put this one in. I didn't put this one on a wire. I'm going to grab a wire. I like, especially for the pieces, and tell me I used, you know what? Can you see the difference? I used bare copper wire, and it said, the label that I used said bare copper, but you can see that's definitely not bare copper that I used there. So let me move that aside, and let me see if I can just abrade this off a little bit. See if I can save it. Let's also, we don't want to leave these in too terribly long because liver of sulfur acts fast. See the shadows, right? Those are looking pretty good. Oh, I never put in let's put the rest of these. Look at, see how I'm just dipping this with my fingers like this? It's pretty hot, but I'm wearing gloves, so I'm okay. But see how that darkened? Sometimes if you leave your copper pieces in there too long, the liver of sulfur will flake off, right? So you have to kind of dip it and rinse it. I'm going to rinse it and then maybe put it back in just a second. Let me see if I can get this to tarnish. Yeah, no. Maybe a little bit there on the bottom. Well, that's kind of irritating, isn't it? Oh, well. I could just put this under my torch and get it done right away, but there you go. You can see it starting to go right there, but that's all right. And let's put in these silver shadows too. So let's check our friends here. I'm going to rinse this and then we'll look at it. See how our friends here, the copper ones, have antiqued. And again, these are the ones that I abraded. So you can see that I didn't get all of the anti-tarnish coating. It has not really done anything to this silver, but again, the coating, you can see that one has the coating there. Okay, so let me just leave those in there. So let's see how our friends, the copper shadows, are doing. Take a look at the copper here. It's looking actually pretty good. I'm gonna put it back in the rinse water. I'm gonna put these guys. Bear with me here just a second. I'm gonna rinse this, and if it's on, you guys can keep watching that broadcast while I actually have my jewel tool here. I'm just gonna come over and abrade that copper, because I want to see it all antique, but we'll see how it looks. Someone also mentioned or was observing that the having the two different, the tarnish and non-tarnish wires, would really kind of be a cool difference. But see, there it goes. That antique's there. So I missed some of it, but we'll take a look at it and see. Okay, good. All right. So let's rinse that. Let's rinse these guys. And you can see not much is happening to the silver. I'm going to leave it in there. Again, there probably has a pretty decent anti-tarnish coating on those. Okay, so if you have like a tumbler or something, you could also tumble these if you wanted to get some of that coating off. Now I'm going to take all of my friends here. I'm going to put them in this bin, and I'm going to rinse these real quick. Now, when I bring them back, you're going to see that the Tierra cast pieces really took to the antiquing. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the Tierra cast is plated in silver, fine silver. And so the silver, if any of you do PMC, right, precious metal clay, any of the metal clays in silver, and have used liver of sulfur before, you're very familiar with how that liver of sulfur works with that fine silver. Let me give you a little, whoops. I don't want to get my phone in my rinse water. There we go. So Julie asks a good question. about how long does it take. Let me see if I can get the question on the broadcast. So about how long does it usually take the LOS to achieve the tarnished look? Obviously the Tierra cast piece didn't take long, and it didn't, because again, it's pure silver, right? So that silver really took to it for sure. And it really just depends. Like my Liver of Sulphur was super strong, right? This is really dark and super strong. Yeah, you can see I might be getting a little bit of darkening in there. I'm going to go ahead and rinse it so we can take a look at it. But this here, you can see it really did a nice job on them. Where are the... Oh, and look at what else it did a nice job on. Remember those end tips, right? Yes. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to soak it in there. My mom's asking, could nail polish remover take off the coating? You know, Ma, it depends on what the coating is. Like a lot of times they use what's called a Protect-A-Clear or a Protect-A-Clear-like item, which will not dissolve under the solvent of the nail polish remover. Though you could try it, certainly. I wouldn't let it soak in there for too long, but it's all experimentation. You know, you can try it with little pieces like I'm doing today and then take note of what works well. So the thing that I'm really super stoked about is this end tip. This is the Palace end tip cap in the silver. Now I'm going to come in with this Pro Polish pad. We carry Pro Polish pads here at the office, here at Bead Shop. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my gloves off. My hands are going to get looking like a mess, but I can't function with these on. Now it's time to touch the metal. Also, the gloves were a little damp, and when you're using a Pro Polish pad, you need to use it dry, right? If the Pro Polish pad gets wet at all, I'm actually going to get rid of this wet surface to here. And let me get rid of this LOS. I'm going to put it very safely to the side. But if your Pro Polish pad gets wet, it gets super gummy and it will not, it's going to leave like a film on your metals. So let's take a moment to just clear the decks here and get a fresh coating, okay, of paper towel, or you can use you know, some brown paper or whatever it is you have. But let's make a nice surface. There we go. Okay, there it is. So here is our, let me get in nice and close so you can see it, our Pro Polish pad. It's a little kind of spongy pad, foam rubber pad that has a silver polish impregnated into it, and it has a little bit of tooth to it as well. Okay, so the lighter of a touch you use, or the heavier of a touch you use, is how much of that tarnish, well, I don't want to say tarnish, how much of that surface antiquing is going to remove. Now look at how beautiful, how beautifully done this came out. Okay, gorgeous. It's ready to go. Okay, let's look at, oh, let me take out Janice's end tips. I want to dry them. I'm going to put them over there. Let's look at the clasp from this jumbo swivel. Okay. And let's polish this sucker up with the Pro Polish. I love the look of antiqued copper. It has a really organic feel to it. Now you can also come in, if you wanted to abrade this just a little bit more, See how I'm using that scrubby? What the Pro Polish pad does, and you can see the difference. The Pro Polish mostly polishes without taking off too much of the antiquing. If you want to be a little more aggressive in what you're doing, use kind of a scrubby like this to pull this off, and then follow up with that Pro Polish. Okay. But this is a way, what we call, to add the hand of the maker into the pieces that you're making, right? So that you can alter your pieces just a little bit so they have that kind of hand wrought feel to them rather than the manufactured feel, which I'm a big fan of. So take a look at how beautifully. Hey Myra, will you grab me a jumbo swivel in copper, please? Now, this will tarnish now that the non-tarnish coating and stuff is off, right? Thank you. But you can use, this is where you could use that painting of the nail polish, the clear nail polish on, or using a Protect-A-Clear. But take a look at the difference. Can you see the difference in those two colors, right? Can you see that? The one that is uncoated, right, will last, will naturally patina down again, but you can always repolish it with your Pro Polish pad, okay? You can also use, I use Protect-A-Clear, which is, I talk about it on my Kate Richburg channel, and that's a really great sealant for metal, okay? So you can do that, or you can use like a spray. I have just an acrylic spray that you can do a light spray over them. That also works as well. Things though that are mechanical like this, if you dip them in Protect-A-Clear, you need to kind of break that seal on the Protect-A-Clear so that this will rotate. Sometimes when you get, and we try and check them, but these clasps and stuff that rotate, if they don't rotate, it probably means that the sealant has gotten in there. So give it just a little turn and it'll be fine. Okay, but again, see the difference between these two. Okay, so again, the hand of the maker is really in there with these pieces. So here are Janice's end tips. I'm calling them Janice's end tips, but they're great. And can you see how on the inside, let me cut this if I can. Well, I'm not going to cut it yet. Let me just open it up a little. So see where I didn't abrade the end tip? It's still silver on the inside, but I got that non-tarnished coating off on the outside, and they antiqued really nicely. So again, you can just give them a swipe with that Pro Polish wherever you wanted to, if you wanted to just a little bit, and polishing them up, and you've got some nice antiqued end tips. Okay, so again, this will work on the silver, it'll work on the copper, but it will not work on the brass. And you can see that here, right here, on these guys. So here are the big shadows, or the king size shadows and the queen size shadows that I worked on. And had I been a little more diligent about getting some of this non-tarnished coating, can you see here on the copper where I missed those spots? And you can see here on the silver where I missed those spots, right? But let's go ahead and polish them up anyway. I'm going to use this little pad again. And I want to have kind of a light touch, so I remove some of the antiquing, the darkening, but not all of it. Okay, follow up with that Pro Polish. And you can see how nice that looks. Okay. Let's do the same on Um, here's our friend, the little copper shadows here. I need to really dry these guys off. What we do, you could set these outside in the sun. I like to keep them on the strand when I antique, right? Because they're easier to handle. Okay. And I'll flash I think I've got my Protective Clear and my spray coating. I think I've got it here somewhere. I'll see if I can lay my hands on it real quick just to show you in the shot. Okay. So here, and I'm just going to do a portion of these. And I'll come in with my Pro Polish pad. I could do this whole thing with the Pro Polish. And yeah, you can redip. Like Patricia's asking, if you find you missed a spot, can I go back after sanding and reapply? You bet. I would just redunk it, right? You'll be fine. Okay. And then I'd come in and I'd rinse these again. Also eventually washing my hands because, you know, you can wear gloves as you're working, but I took mine off so I could really feel the metal. And look at how beautifully antiqued these are. And it is a lot of work. Julie's saying it looks like a lot of work and it's messy. It is, right? So but the results are great. And if you have your little workstation and stuff, you'll be fine. But I know it's probably not for everyone, but I love that. So I don't know where the section, Janice, where I use the scrubby. I don't know which section it was, but it looks pretty good. I like these a lot. Okay. Here's the piece that I made earlier with the wire, and I can come in and it really gives that piece some dimension. Let me cut that off. So I can take off. Now copper, the LOS really adheres to the copper. Okay, it really adheres to it. So you need to be a little more aggressive if you want to take more of it off. Or don't let it soak. Dip the piece in and out, in and out, in and out. So it does not get too overly darkened for you. So see, on this bare copper at the top, it really darkened it a lot. And here with the wire that had that I had to take that off of, the coating off, it didn't get quite as dark. I'll deal with the back of this later. But again, here's that scrubby. This also mats it down a little bit, which I like. Let's see that there. There's that. Okay. Let me see if I can find, let me make this a nice little display. And let me see if I can find some of my sealants. Now, if you're going to use a sealant, I cannot stress the safety of using sealants enough. You really need to make sure that you are using them in a well-ventilated area. And if it's a spray sealant, you want to wear a mask and you want to do it outside. What I do when I make a little spraying chamber out of a cardboard box, and I place my things on another little piece of cardboard, and I do a light spray of those so all of the fumes stay in one place. There we go, because we only get one set of lungs. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let me actually, there we go. Let me see if I can lay my hands on my sealants. We don't carry them here at Bead Shop, but a quick Google search will tell you, will find them for you. I've got 2 of them, and if you go to my Kate Richburg YouTube, I do a little demo in that Patina video, that blue Patina video. We talk about these a little bit more, but this is what I use, and you can find them online. We don't carry them here, but there are 2. Here is the this is Americana brand, but Krylon carries it as well. This is just a matte spray finish, and then here is the Protect-A-Clear. It comes in a little jar like this, and I dip it. I get my pieces on a wire just like this, and I dip them in and out, and then I kind of hang them to dry. And sorry, there's a motorcycle out there. And I would dip it a couple of times, right? So these are both really great products to use. But again, this, you can find them both if you do a little search online. Okay. So I think now is the time, since we've had so much fun with this, I'm going to go ahead and toss what I've got for the giveaway on that. We're running a little bit late today, but this is our monthly mix that's going to debut tomorrow. And it was done in in tribute to my mom. It's the August monthly mix, and my mom's birthday is August. And her birthstone, of course, those of you who are August babies, you know that August birthstone is peridot. And one of my mom's favorite places, I'm also polishing my cuff so I can put it back on. Can you see that? Yep, there it goes. One of my mom's favorite places is to be by the sea. So we did this as a birthday giveaway, or a birthday mix for my mom. So it's called Peridot Seas. So let me show you what it looks like. And I'm going to give you, while I show you this, you guys can start to enter the giveaway. What we're going to do is, you need to comment. You need to leave a comment. And those of you who are watching on our Facebook group, the Bead Table, you need to make sure that you grant StreamYard permission to see your name at streamyard.com/Facebook. So the giveaway entries are accepted on this live broadcast only. Whoops, I thought I changed this from the 28th. Let me, I changed it, but maybe it didn't save. Sorry, the 30th. There we go. There we are on the live broadcast today, 7/30/21 only. And what you're going to do is enter in the, you can only, even if you put #C is the giveaway comment, even if you put it in 10 times, the program is only going to recognize one of your entries. So enter #C in the comments to enter our giveaway, #C. And we're going to let you guys enter, put that in for while we do that, and for the giveaway. And let me show you, let me talk to you a little bit about the peridot. It's called Peridot Seas. We launch our monthly mixes every month on the 1st of the month, so that means August 1st, which is Sunday. This will come out in your newsletter. We do a limited amount of these little beauties. So what we did this time is I was putting together the mix, the beads for the mix, and I chose the beads, right? And I was going to mix them all together. And I mixed the blue ones first to see what they look like. Sorry, my hands are a mess, but I've been antiquing. I mixed the blue ones, and I thought, oh my gosh, look at how beautiful that is. And then I mixed the green ones, and I said, oh my gosh, look at how beautiful those were. So I had 2 giant bins of these mixes. And so I texted everybody, And I said, what do you guys think if instead of one giant tube, because usually we put these in one tube, that we put them in two separate tubes, right? To sell them that way. And everybody bought it because it's twice the work, right? But I just thought that the visual impact of it looked so beautiful. So I'm going to open them up and then I'm going to mix them. So when you guys get this, and again, it's not available yet. We're just going to give it away today early as an early little gift. It'll be available and you'll get it in your newsletter link on August 1st, or it'll be right on the homepage of our website at beadshop.com. So what you're going to do, what you'll see is here, it's called Peridot C, is this here. And here's the peridot, and here's the C. So let's dump out the C mix. So here's C. And here's peridot rather, and here's the C. Okay? So what you can do when you get them, if you want, right? Is my mom? Ma, don't enter, I'll send you one. I mean, if my mom likes it. If my mom wins, we'll choose another one. And I'm going to send her one anyway. So here they are, right here. I hope you like it, Ma. I made it just for you. And so remember, add your hashtag C in the comments. I'm going to mix them because I actually haven't seen them mixed yet. So I'm going to mix this one. So here's the C and here's the peridot. Look at that. It's even more beautiful mixed, right? I love it. So let's put it back in the tube and you can kind of see how it looks. And this time it comes in a little organza bag. And I thought that the bag kind of looks like the sun over the sea. So it comes in this beautiful sun-colored organza bag. Plus, we wanted to make sure that they didn't, that they all shipped together, right? That they didn't get lost. So they had to be a pair. So here it is. I like to look at it in the tube. Here's the tube all mixed up. Okay, so this is in honor of my dear Mama Gwen, the Peridot C August 2021 mix. So I'm going to move back over and let's see. I'm going to draw a name. Again, sorry, the Free Tip Friday went a little bit long today, you guys, but that's okay. That's how it is. And someone was asking, Kate, how do you clean your hands? I get that same scrub brush, and I just scrub them good with soap and water, and my hands usually come clean. So I'm going to take this banner. Let's see. Let me get me here. Let me take the banner down. Okay, and I'm going to add. Here we go. We've got 53 entries for the Peridot C giveaway. So let's run it and see who wins. Here we go. And the winner is Lori Campbell Tanner. You won today's Peridot C. And I am going to send you one so you can mix it on your own. You won't get the mixed one. The mixed one I'm going to send to my mom for her birthday. So, so sorry, Ma, you don't get to mix it. But that's the story there, you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and congratulations to you, Lori. And what you're going to do, let me tell you what to do, is you are going to, though I think we have it on file, but just email your mailing information to info@beadshop.com, and I will package it up and get it out to you later today. So congrats to you, my friend. So there I am. So it was great to have everybody here today on this Free Tip Friday. Free Tip Fridays are fun. You know, they're a little more off the cuff. They're a little more, I don't know, hanging out and beading and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to do a pre-recorded broadcast for all you all. That will be up next week. We're going to look at those herringbone ladder bracelets that I showed yesterday or on Wednesday that Drea created. I think it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to go over some of the in and outs of laddering with super duos to really make it super easy for you guys. And we'll talk a little bit about adding and taking away threads and things like that. So it'll be at the normal time on Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, but I won't be live. The video will be on at that time, and then you will be able to comment and chat and everything as well. It'll be just like this, except I won't be live. I'll be recorded. So thanks again, everybody, for joining me for this Liver of Sulphur episode. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about it. Do remember that you can sign up for our newsletter and find all of the information on the project and products from today's broadcast right on our website. Sign up for our newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. Janice and I have spent this last week making some great new stuff for all of you all that's going to start up in August, so you won't want to miss it. The monthly mix will debut on Sunday, August 1st, so that will be available for purchase then, but we do have the Liver of Sulphur and everything in stock now for you. And of course, you can follow us at beadshop.com on our Insta. Join us over at the Bead Table on our Facebook group over on Facebook. And of course, if you're watching live or if you're watching us on the replay, we really appreciate it. And you can like and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Well, thanks again, everybody. I'm going to go scrub these hands and have a really fantastic, safe and productive weekend. Congratulations again to Lori. And I won't see you live on Wednesday, but I'll see you when I'm back from my little bit of time off. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.